being a part of other films, say for instance with The Best Man, it was just a great opportunity, and I was glad. It was refreshing to see those characters on film and be able to relate to those characters. That's all people want to see. Learn something from each one.
I'm just gonna go ahead and create something over here. Coming up on another act, I sit down with Morris Chestnut and we talk about his navigation in Hollywood and why it's so important for him to bring high-achieving Black males to life in the roles that he takes on. In the middle of the summer of 2020, there was this Morris Chestnut appreciation thread that I know that you saw and thanked the thousands of people who basically said they just don't make men like Morris Chestnut anymore. What does it feel like for you to get that type of appreciation at this point in your career?
It was it felt good, it really did, to know that people appreciate the work that I've done throughout the years, and for someone to start something like that just completely unsolicited and out of nowhere. I was getting texts and everything, people saying, are you seeing? And what happened, how did this come about? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Then I go online and I see it's one of those things that just kind of start organically, and I just appreciated it.
At the top of the NFL season, you voiced this very important in racism video that really talked about the Black lives that have been lost that year. Why was that
Right.
important for you to participate and use your voice in that way?
It was one of those things to where I wanted the victims and the family of the victims to let them know that they're supported. It was my way of showing my support, whatever, how much or however little that is. I just wanted them to know. But thinking
Please.
back to, when I did a movie like Boys in the Hood, and what was transpiring back then, and for things to still be a certain way now, it's just something that we can no longer just sweep under the rug.
Something else that I think is doing your part in particular is representation. You're on the series on Fox called The Resident, where you're playing a neurosurgeon. And at least in profession, we've seen you play high achieving
Yeah.
Black men. And that feels like that's something that's really important to you to put that out there in the world.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where I was really excited to get an opportunity to be a part of a film like The Brothers, a film like The Best Man. So I feel that I feel that there was a desire for uh, Black people or just minorities to see us in a different light, because to see us being progressive, to see us, being intelligent, to see us, wearing nice clothes, having nice cars, other than in music videos. I was very fortunate to be a part of some movies that really kind of ushered in seeing Black positive, progressive light, and I still enjoy it, to this very day.
But was it
Mhm.
was it a challenge to get the industry to see you as something other than the kid who was this close to making it out of the hood? Because a lot of those films, very few actors coming out of those spaces, I think, were able to break out and really be able to speak to the strengths of all the different types of characters they can play. You were one, Lorenz Tate is another, but was it
Yes.
challenging for you to break out of that?
Well, yes, it was. See, I was for see at that time when I was auditioning for roles, it was all about gangster number one, gangster number two, and I wasn't getting those. And then when God rest his soul, the great John Singleton, he gave me the opportunity to play that character to where it got me noticed. I was able to get in some more rooms, have more discussions with filmmakers, studios, networks, and then Malcolm Lee came up, brought me, tapped me for, The Best Man. And so that type of progression has been something that, I've just been very blessed and fortunate.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love the progression of where your career has gone since those early spaces. And I think that part of that Twitter thread of appreciation is that you really get to see and understand all of the different roles that you have that feel very iconic, in particular to a Black community, and that has to feel pretty good. I would think,
Right.
kind of understanding your contributions to the culture.
It feels good to really project those images and those characters, and to have people really respond and want to be like Nia Long's character, who's is a successful executive, or Tay's character, who's a writer. He's a writer, he's cerebral. It felt refreshing. And for those two movies, so Boys in the Hood 30 years ago, still resonating today. With the best man, we did the best man, then we did the best man holiday, and then now we're about to revisit those characters on a streaming series. So those characters are still resonating to this day. So it's very fortunate for me. I feel very fortunate to be able to have those characters and play those characters that projected certain images or certain themes that people can still relate to this very day.
Will you be participating in this new iteration of all the characters we met from Best Man?
Yes, I will be
Okay.
participating in that for sure.
Okay. Okay. I'm excited to see where Lance Sullivan is right now. I have some
Right.
ideas. I have
Lance,
some ideas.
I yeah, you guys. Well, I can tell you this. So Lance spent the first movie crying on at the altar because his best friend slept with his woman. Lance spent the second movie crying because my wife had cancer. I think Lance is gonna go in a different direction in the upcoming iteration of it.
I found that I was surprised to see you produce projects that you actually don't act in.
Right,
Things
right, right.
that weren't necessarily front of mind to me. So tell me a little bit about that trajectory for you. Like what made you want to get behind the camera in that way in particular?
That's one of the things that I am proud about. And I guess if I were to say goals, I could say I want to do more things that I'm not in front of the camera, because when you're the lead in the movie or the lead in the television show or whatever, you can always say, hey, give me a title of producer. And okay, here's a vanity title. You're a producer. So, go back in your trailer and just be happy with your producer title. So it's always been something that there's certain stories that I want to tell. There's certain themes that I want to convey. The challenge with Hollywood is that you kind of have to go where it takes you at times. You can't really control your path. And I'll never forget, I had this I had a concept for a TV show, and I went in and they were excited to meet me just because maybe I was interested in doing TV. I don't know. But I really just had a bad pitch. It was just a bad meeting. And I felt when I walked out of that meeting, I was like, man, I had an opportunity to really impress them as a producer and not just an actor. And I kind of I fell into the whole cliche. The actor has this, crazy idea about a show. He doesn't know what he's doing and that type of thing. So it really took me a minute. I kind of did a couple of projects, and it kind of took me a minute to say, you know what? I want to revisit that. I want to revisit that. I want to do my homework even more so, and I want to approach it from a very serious perspective. So the next time I go into that room, they take me even more seriously, just as a producer.
How does being a producer affect the work that you do as an actor? For example, even on this current series on Fox The Resident, like
Yes.
how do you bring that producer hat that you wear into a show like this?
Well, I see things much differently. I look at things from a deeper perspective, not just as talent. I look at things from a budget perspective. I look at things from a relationship perspective. But it's really understanding what everybody does and what everybody's role is, and seeing how you can make that come together from nothing.
I love that. Morris Chestnut, the actor, the producer, and the star of everyone's favorite film, TV series, fill in the blank. You brought so many great roles to life. It is why people are dedicating Twitter threads to all of that excellence. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sitting
Thank you.
down and chatting with me today. It's always great to talk to you.
Always great to talk to you. Good seeing you again, and thanks for having me here.